Hello, everybody out there. You are tuned in to The Local Lens, the podcast from the Powell County Health Department and Kentucky Rio, where we go inside our community's experience with the drug epidemic. Our show is coming to you from Stanton, Kentucky, a small town nestled right outside the foothills of Appalachia, and we have been doing this show for over 65 episodes now, which is quite a long time. That's a lot of conversations to have about addiction. But this one is going to be different from all the other ones because we are interviewing a couple of musicians and singers and songwriters. Who are they? Here they are.
I'm Jen Richardson, a singer-songwriter from the big old city of Irvin, KY.
My name's Aaron Boyd. I'm originally from Stanton, Kentucky. I now live in Estill County, Kentucky. Been a musician most of my life and writing and singing songs for 6 years or so.
The interplay between being a musician and struggling with various addictions is a very well publicized phenomenon. So I am very excited to be taking a look at recovery and music and see how those two work together. And then also, I am a songwriter myself, so I'm very excited to see what the perspective is for these two people who are working through like some monumental inner struggles. So this is a very, very interesting episode for several reasons. And I hope you stick around until the end because we do have a special recording that we just did right after recording the interview. So very happy to share that with you all. Well, anyways, I am your host, Nate Brooks. You are tuned into The Local Lens, and we are glad that you're here. Be sure you're sharing this with your friends. These are our people using our voices, telling our stories, because no one sees it like we do. So we're going to kick things off with getting to know the musical background of our two guests, Aaron Boyd and Jen Richardson.
So I originally started out as a drummer, and I was really big into heavy metal.
Okay. Hence the all black.
Yeah. Still
Some things don't change.
But I played in a lot of bands with older folks. Most everybody was like seniors in high school when I would be in like 7th grade playing drums in their band or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But I kind of grew up around music, both sides of my family. Played bluegrass and country, so it was kind of always around. Growing up in church, that was probably one of my favorite things. One of my best memories as a kid was growing up in church and, listening to my grandparents sing. And,
Yeah. Jen, how about you? What's your history with music like?
I've done it out probably since I was 8 years old, just little kid doing talent shows here and there that your parents push you to do and all that. And I got away from it as I got older and had kids. I had my oldest daughter, at a pretty young age. I was 19 and had to take on all that, and music kind of fell to the wayside. But out of going through recovery, I have met some really cool musicians, and they've all become some of my closest friends, like Aaron, and we all can kind of relate on all that and all share our stories. And
what is the scene like in Eastern Kentucky specifically, or just in general, and then also specifically like as a recovery community?
Well, the scene is like you said, it's kind of exploded recently, but I feel like that's always been a thing. Like back in the 70s and 80s with country music, like there was just tons of country music coming out of Kentucky, and so it kind of seems like that goes in cycles. And then now with Stapleton and Tyler Childers and all that, they've kind of opened up this scene to a national level, because people all over the world are listening to these folks, so they're like, okay, if this is coming out of Kentucky, then there's got to be more. So they start looking, and but it's kind of a double-edged sword too, because it's a great thing, to have all that attention towards Kentucky, like if I'm out on the road, folks will come to a show just because they know I'm from Kentucky. But
Okay.
Also at the same time, you end up with a lot of folks doing it, so it becomes like very saturated with music, you know, to where you kind of have to venture out of your region, you know, to play.
Okay.
So I spend probably the majority of my shows are not around here. You know?
Okay.
And so that, I feel like that's the easy solution to it, you know?
Yeah. Jen, is that, are you touring? Is that something you get into?
Not really. Like I've said before, my husband.
We did take her on a tour recently.
Oh my gosh, we did. We went to Nashville were there 7 seats or 8?
7 seats.
7 seats in this van, and it's a big old van.
Yeah.
They wanted me to come along, so we had to make a seat in between 2 seats with air mattresses and pillows.
Yeah.
And it was okay for like the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
But after that, it was horrible.
Yeah.
She said, I'm never going on the road with you.
The road life was not for me like that.
Yeah.
I need a seat of my own.
Maybe a little more plushy, maybe. Yeah. Maybe something with a back on it.
Yes, that was the thing. There was no back.
Yeah.
And I would sit like this and move. And
I made sure to drive, that way I didn't have to ride on
He
the
did. He did.
That's when you got to get the rotation system
Yes.
going, though.
Nobody really wanted to rotate much until there. I think at the very end on the way back, they knew that I had all I could take.
Yeah.
And they were offering to rotate it out at that point. I don't go on the road much. I am going to try to do more now. My son is 5, so he's finally getting to the point where I feel like he could stay a little longer than just one night with somebody. It was a lot of fun going to Nashville with Aaron and the guys. My husband manages some bands, Holler Billy Music Management, and he travels a lot with them out of state. But I haven't done a lot other than going to that show in Nashville. But hopefully, I'm hoping that we make our run to Kansas City here coming up. So we're talking about doing that. So.
Kansas City's a fun place. There's some really fun musicians from Kansas City, at least. So, who would you all say are your grandparents in music then? Parents or grandparents, whoever.
Ooh, we get to pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna pick for you.
I'm gonna say Patsy Cline and Waylon Jennings.
Okay. That's a couple.
I'm going to say Merle Haggard because he's the GOAT. And
He might be.
and I'm going to throw in Loretta Lynn.
Okay. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Man, when was it? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, well, that makes sense. This all adds up. Your albums, I only made it through the first half of it on the drive over, but it fit the scene perfectly, and it's incredible. Let's get into the writing part of things. How much does your all's past with substance use, does that make its way into your writing at all?
100%.
Okay.
Usually it'll be kind of vague, but typically for me, I'd say 90% of the songs I write have something to do with that, you know, because I mean, even though I don't live that life anymore, you know, that mentality still follows you, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you never really fully get away from that depression a little bit, you know, it always kind of tags along. Sometimes you might be good and then sometimes you might not. So I mean, it always comes into play, I feel like, with writing for me.
You write a lot about home too, it seems like. Is that a part of that analogy at all? Just getting back to some kind of home base, or is that like more specifically actually a location?
I might actually learn some stuff today.
I think it has a lot to do with Maggie too, though. I think when you're gone, you really miss her, and I think you tie home with that a lot too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say, you know, with writing songs, like, sometimes you write things and you don't even realize what you're really talking about till like you just mentioned that, and it got me thinking, that it could be, something that you just subliminally write about, trying to find that structure that you had prior, or whatever.
I definitely believe in that whole mindset, but at least with writing, where it's just like something's sitting on your head all the time, and like if it is just what your life is, then like when you do open up your mouth and something's going to come out, that's going to be just reflections of the stuff that's always bouncing around your head, and like it is going to be packed with meanings that you don't know are exactly there when you're saying it. There's a lot of weight in the word.
I think that's the hardest thing about songwriting for folks, is just to embrace what you just said, and just kind of let it, not overthink it, and just let it kind of come out and be what it is, and just not overthinking is a huge thing.
Yeah. Does that come easy to you all, or is that something you guys had to kind of
I don't think it does for me, because I'm newer to that. I was a singer way before I was a songwriter, and I still have a hard time finding a way to not overthink it.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be so structured. I have lots of confidence and faith in my voice, and I want everything else to match up to that.
Yeah.
I feel like the longer that I do it, the easier it becomes. Like I feel like I could, if I wanted to write a song right now, I could sit down and write mindless songs about anything, but I kind of wait around till that one thing kind of comes to me that I feel like is a song that I need to write, and then I'll write it. So sometimes I'll sit down, and in a month I'll have 5 or 6 songs, come out, and then sometimes nothing,
Yeah.
So I try not to force it ever, and just let it come.
Yeah, that's the same way. Really, it's just like at some point you're like, especially if you've listened to good music a lot, then you can be like, okay, this is how you actually write a song and make it interesting. But then like to make it actually be something that resonates deeply, it makes it be something that you want to return to and see all the way through.
Right.
So singing then, does writing, does that have the same kind of payoff that singing has for you, Jen?
In a sense, yeah. I mean, I'm an extremely passionate singer. I mean, I do sing from deep down, regardless of if it's a song that, is mine or someone else's. I just try to take myself and put myself in that moment at that very time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is a spiritual thing. I mean, you were saying that the other day, I thought, right? Yeah. And like there's something about like that amount of sound coming out of somebody's voice too that just it will move you if you let it. Yeah. Is that where you're coming from, do you think? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Aaron, are you a singer? I know you sing, but are you a singer?
I don't claim to be a singer at all.
He is.
I claim more to be a songwriter, and that's what I enjoy doing more than anything, is just writing songs. And if it wasn't for the fact that I've had, folks resonate with things that I wrote, and it really made me feel like they needed to hear it, or it helped them through something. If it wasn't for that, then I would just sit here and do it on my porch, what I'm saying? But I do go out and sing just to get it out there,
Yeah, because it is pretty nice if you can pay rent with it, or if you can pay for groceries with it. That's pretty cool. It's an added bonus.
Yeah.
How does recovery and music fit together for both of you? It's a vague question, I feel like, but I mean, take it however you feel like you go with it.
That's a good question. I feel like they fit really well together. Music for me has been a way for me to get out all these things that I keep on my mind, and things that might have like made me take a step back prior, it's been a way to kind of get that off my chest and move forward.
It's a way of feeling for sure, even if you don't realize it at the time.
But also I feel like anybody that does this, that writes songs and puts songs out there, kind of has that same thing inside of them that, you know, they just need to like get out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do people resonate with this side of it when, like, do you guys notice other people in recovery or other people struggling with addiction still? Like, do they catch on? Do they hear what you're saying and like, yeah, that's exactly what I need? Is that something you guys see a lot?
I feel like majority of musicians struggle with addiction to substances in some form or fashion, whether it be alcohol or drugs.
Why is that? Why do y'all think that happens?
I've thought about this a lot, and I don't know if was a mentality prior to playing music, or if some of them like get into music and then it's not an easy life. It's not a easy life. Like, you might play 5 shows on the road. You might have 1 good show and 4 bad shows. So it's like a constant emotional roller coaster of being real high on it and feeling real good about what you did, and then the next day just feeling terrible about it and rethinking everything that you've done.
Because there's a lot of, whether you're going to make it in music depends on if other people like accept what you're saying, and if you're saying stuff that is like true to the core, then it hurts when people don't resonate with it, right?
Oh
yeah. That's hard to see. So like, does that play into that? I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think I've told a lot of folks this too that are starting out, like you have different levels of songwriters. Like you have like your Tyler Childers, who he will write a song, and if there's 10 people in the room, all 10 people will resonate something with that song. They'll relate to it. Mm-hmm. And then you have folks like me that I might just be writing to these 3 people over here who are, you know, kind of the same as me, and they will resonate with it well, but the rest won't. But still, yet, if you write a song, there's somebody out there who's going to understand it, who's going to relate to it. Like,
and I think everybody takes something different from different songs. Not everybody's going to see one song a certain way. Everybody's going to take something different from it.
That's one of the best things.
Kind of like what they're going through at the moment.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things about music in general too. So the internet playing into this, that really just blows the doors open of who your audience can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you're on streaming. You don't have anything on streaming, but that's got to change.
I know.
You got to get that going.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Good. If I'll help you record stuff if you want. Like we'll get it happening. But how does that feel? Like is the same thing happening over the internet that happens in a room? And it's definitely not the same magnitude for sure. But how do you guys feel about the internet being such a huge stage for music now?
I like it, but also at the same time, like, I think it's more beneficial to younger folks who are better at navigating it. You know, like I'm not that old, but also I didn't have Facebook and all that till I was like, I'm pretty sure when I graduated high school. So it's different. Like younger generations can navigate that stuff better. Like they'll get on TikTok and they'll figure out a way to go viral, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and our generations are kind of like, nah. Just don't mess with it as much. But it's a very crucial thing. Like,
it is.
That's the only way to market. That's the only way to navigate the market these days is through the internet.
And that's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh.
It is, and it's a constant thing. You have to constantly do it.
Yeah.
Jen knows a lot about that. She, runs a lot of social media for Holler Billy.
Tell me about Holler Billy a little bit. What's Holler Billy's whole thing?
It is, I mean, it's just a local management company. We've got now 6 different bands. Aaron is a part of Holler Billy. We've got Cody Lee Meese, Sydney Adams, W.D. Miller, now Daniel Stroud, and Sean Whiting.
There you go.
All a part. It was just a love for local musicians and wanting to give them another platform to get their music out there. We just pump their social media, and my husband books some shows and runs around with these guys and tries to keep them straight.
Yeah. What does it take to run a management company of a bunch of musicians? I mean, knowing yourself how musicians are, how is it to make a business out of that?
It's definitely a deep love for each of them.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not just a management company. I think that we're more like family. I love these guys and gals just like I do my own family, if not a little more at times.
Yeah.
And a little less.
Yeah, at times. I want to choke them about half the time.
Yeah. All right, here's a nice big old heavy question. What is a favorite line, verse, any piece of words, specifically regarding addiction or recovery? I know that's a big one. We might have to come back to that. I should have asked you that.
We might have to make that a little.
To be continued.
Yeah. That's fair. Because I mean, that's a big
when you
question.
said favorite line, I was like, I immediately thought of a line, but I don't know how it. I mean, I'm sure it does.
Well, what's the line?
Relate. So it's a Brent Cobb song. You ever listen to Brent Cobb?
Mm-hmm.
I love Brent Cobb. I feel like he's probably one of the best songwriters of today's time, but he's got a couple lines in one of his songs that's like, hey old man moon, talking about the moon, is like, I hear that you get blue too, it must be lonesome way up in the sky. The stars look mighty proud, if I was you I'd hate a cloud, all they ever do is hang around and cry. And I'm like, dude, that is such a genius, like, line. Like,
Say that again for me real quick.
hey old man moon, I hear that you get blue too. It must be lonesome way up in the sky. The stars look mighty proud. If I were you, I'd hate a cloud. All they ever do is hang around and cry.
That's incredible. on about at least immediately 5 different levels. Oh man. Yeah.
And everybody's going to interpret that differently.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that relates to what you were saying though, because I mean, I feel like the biggest thing in anybody becoming an addict or getting into that situation started out with some kind of trauma and some kind of depression, some kind of low that whenever they found that high, they didn't want to let go of it. You know what I'm saying? And at least that's the way it was for me. I can't speak for everyone, but
Yeah. Does that depression and dealing with the trauma stuff, does that ever get solved?
I don't think so. I think that's why they say, you know, like that's something that follows you forever. I don't feel like it ever does get solved. I feel like you either just find a way to cope and manage it, or you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, which I'm probably not the best spokesperson for addiction. Like I have done AA and NA in the past, and I've been in recovery. I've been, you know, in rehabs and all that when I was younger. But nowadays, I don't follow any of that stuff. I just try not to do it. You know, which is, a lot of folks would say that's not the best way to do it.
But your music is kind of like your therapy too. I think everybody's recovery is different. You can't just put it in a box and say this is the way to do it, because what works for me may not work for everybody else.
That's true.
Yeah. And are you more like involved with like the kind of AA stuff on a daily level?
I was early on in my recovery. I found myself wanting to be around people that were going through the same things, because I was so humiliated and embarrassed by what I had done, and I felt like I had shamed my family so much. It was a way to feel like I fit in somewhere, because I was so disappointed in myself at that time.
Yeah.
But once I got past that, I didn't go around as much, because sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. You know, there are a lot of people in there. Everybody's struggling, but sometimes I don't know. I felt like I was far enough along that I didn't have to at that point, I guess. And I didn't want to have to take my kids and stuff like that. They were getting older, and
you kind of found what worked for you.
Yes,
At that point.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. That's the point of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really fun thing with music, because now you guys also get to, like, if it's helping you guys deal with it at all, then it's also giving other people some very, very tasty ear candy to do what they need to with it. What is a song of each of yours that you think resonates with people, or that you want to resonate with people? What's maybe the most meaningful song that each of you all have of your own? That's a big question too, but like you can give 2 or 3 options too.
Well,
I don't have that many, so I don't know that I've even come that far with songwriting yet. I still find myself leaning on other songs
what's a song you
that I
sing
relate to more. I cover a song called "Take a Little Pill," and people that have been through recovery and addiction get it right away. But people that haven't sometimes are taken back by it. Like, why are you singing a song about taking a little pill? Like, it just kind of talks about it all. It's still I find healing in that song.
Yeah. Does the thing happen where like you keep peeling back layers on it and finding new sides of it?
Yeah.
That's really thrilling when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like for a song you've known for years and years, and it just every month or so it's just like, oh shoot, that's a new dig at it. Yeah. Well, that's good. Who's it originally by?
Brandy Clark.
Brandy Clark. Okay, sounds good. Brandy
She's a
with
great
an I or Y?
Y.
Y. Sounds good. So what's a song of yours?
So I just recently finished my second album, and I'm gonna say it's a song off that, which nobody's heard really, but it's a song called "Earthly Sorrow," and you know, like I was saying, like as a musician, you're constantly riding this roller coaster of ups and downs, and I guess I was on one of those downs and wrote this song, and you know, I hate to say that it has like I hate to say that it's kind of about, you know, suicide and things like that, but it's just about depression, you know. I mean, a lot of the first album that I did had a lot of super personal songs, and I guess this one does as well, but I don't know, it's just, you'll just have to check it out when it reaches the ether or whatever.
Yeah. We'll be looking forward to it then. Might try to convince you to play it in a little bit and see how it goes. Yeah. Earthly Sorrow. I mean, just by the title alone, you know it's going to be a gut punch.
It's going to be a really good album. Everybody's going to be excited about that.
Is there a name for it yet?
Coming Undone, which is also
Yeah. Yeah.
Relatable.
Yeah. Man.
But no, that song was kind of like I said, my roots are in gospel music and bluegrass music because that's what I grew up around. That's what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably one of the songs that comes closest to that. And I won't even say that it's like that close, but
yeah. There's probably some like obvious hints of it though in there. Yeah. Earth Through Sorrow from the Coming album. Coming Undone. Yeah. When is there a timeline for when that's coming?
It's been a struggle. That's probably the hardest thing about being a songwriter is releasing an album, you know, because there's just so much that goes into it with, you know, recording, obviously, mixing, mastering, artwork, credits, like navigating the digital distribution. Like there's so much that goes into it. I'd originally planned to release it this year, but that's not happening. So hopefully sometime next year. I'll probably try to start releasing singles for it in the next 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. So we are left here to patiently wait for the album Coming Undone from Aaron Boyd and the song from it, Earthly Sorrow. So we will be waiting for it. And now Leandra, my coworker from Kentucky Rio, who is incredible, but she never speaks into microphones. And I've told her before, if you got something to say, then say it into a microphone so we can hear it at least. But we didn't get a microphone on her. Here is Leandra Knox, though, with her thoughts.
Almost like in the healing process, music is a universal healing.
It
Yeah.
is.
I mean,
it
really.
is.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just according to where you're at in the moment, what's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
in your life. Because
Yeah.
I can read a scripture and you can read a scripture and so can you. And we
Mm.
all interpret
Everybody
it
takes it
different.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with the song. Like
Yeah.
I can take one line from a song and be like,
Yes,
Yeah.
and at different times in your life, you're gonna interpret
Yeah.
it differently.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to something,
Yeah.
I take something different.
and
Yeah.
then there's songs that I've heard since I've been growing up, and I'll be like, I did not know that song said that because it's
Yeah.
just, you're singing it, and it's just habit to sing that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you actually listen to it, and you're like,
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing that happens to me. Is like it takes me like so many times hearing a song, unless I'm like going into it with like the exact intention to like understand what this song is trying to say to me. Then like it'll take me like months of listening to a song on repeat before I hear any of the words even. Like if
Yeah.
I'm just like rocking with it, then yeah. But then another thing on like in songs meaning just whatever they're going to mean. My little brother swears on his life that Summer's End by John Prine is about the opioid epidemic. And the video for it, apparently, like I've not seen the video. I think I watched it like a couple
video
times.
made it out to be because I
Yeah.
think they did like some kind of promotion
Okay.
for like the opioid epidemic.
Yeah. Which, I mean, cheers to that. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I had never got that from that song before that at all. Which I mean, like it's there still, but like I never took it that way. I took it as like, oh man, this beautiful thing is coming to an end, and I really
Yeah.
don't want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's the, and it doesn't have to come to an end either. You know, love that song though, man.
Oh, it's
He's-
such a good song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, he's the man. That really, because I mean I'm 25. Like that song started the John Prine kick for me. Like before that, I was just like 20 years old, didn't care. And so yeah, everybody has that with that guy at some point, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're involved with songwriting at all, then you have a huge respect for
Mhm.
John Prine.
That was my son's first big concert, big show. Was
Wow.
John Prine.
Your son's 5?
He is 5.
It's
He
how?
was 1.
Yeah.
Where was that at Masters?
Masters, yeah.
Wow.
that's pretty awesome.
And you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, writing songs and how you kind of just have to just write whatever you're thinking. John Prine was the king of that. Like he would just literally write stuff that if I sat down and wrote half that stuff, I'd be like, a chance in hell of me, like, letting anybody hear this song.
Not like his song Sabu visits the Twin Cities alone. That's one of my favorite songs, but man, it's like there's no chance I'd ever like sit down to write a song. Like I'd be nervous to use the name Sabu in a song at this point. The way that the world is, which
you know, like John Prine like was kind of popular back in his prime, but he really took off more, you know, later in life. You know, I feel like I seen an interesting quote by him the other day, and it was, "There's no better feeling than walking down the street with a new song in your back pocket that nobody's ever heard."
Yeah.
And it was probably that song you were just talking about.
No, I can get with that though. That adds up. Do you like hearing your voice played back?
I used to not. I feel like it's gotten better. It's kind of like an instrument. The more you practice, the better it gets.
Yeah.
So I do find that I do like to hear it back if it's good, if it's a good day.
Yeah. If it's a bad day though, then
I know if it's good, I'm like, yes, that felt good. And then if it's not, I don't want to hear it back.
I know my voice has gotten better over the years, but I'll never, ever enjoy listening. Like, I won't ever listen to this just because I don't want to listen to myself talk.
I don't like to hear myself talk either, though.
Because I know I'm going to sound stupid.
Well, on record, I hate to say this now that you've said that, but like on record, your voice comes at like the same exact register as this too. Which I mean, that's the way to do it. Do you ever push your voice up at all? Is that something you're comfortable with doing at all, or do you just stay away from that?
I stay pretty far away from that.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Yeah.
You do sometimes on some covers and stuff.
Yeah.
Covers are a good place to try that out.
Yeah.
So we are winding down, but be sure to stick through the end to hear the closing song at the end of this one with Aaron and Jen. But for now, here are some closing statements, and you could say advice. Yeah, here we go.
For anybody wanting to get into songwriting, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that there's no right or wrong way to do it, and that songwriting is kind of like a fingerprint. I like to think that everybody that does it differently. But I think the most important thing is to just get the courage to do it, and just know at the end of the day that if you do put out a song, there will be somebody out there who will relate to it and who will love to hear it.
Yeah. The courage to get that up too is like once you get past that, I feel like you get to a point of like, who cares? It's just what people think of me, and it doesn't matter that much.
You absolutely do. It's 9 times out of 10, the only time anybody's gonna say anything bad is like through the internet. You know, nobody's ever gonna say that.
Yeah.
At a show. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they will if they're drunk or something.
Yeah. Jen, do you have any words to people?
I guess don't take yourself so serious. And I still struggle with that myself. Like I said, I'm new to songwriting, and I'm still trying to learn to not take it so serious.
Yeah. Because on one hand, it is very, very important and close to the heart.
It is.
But on another hand, we're just people.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, you said it though. I take it very serious too, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's hard not to take it serious. I'd take it serious. Like, I'm a pretty bubbly person most of the time, but I can only write serious songs. I can't fill my songs up with jokes. Like,
I can't.
That's tough.
I've tried, and then
maybe serious isn't the word. Maybe it's don't be so hard on yourself.
Let's redo that.
Okay. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that is all that we've got for you all today as far as the interview goes. This has been with Jen Richardson, who is hoping to have some new music out online on all the streaming platforms by the new year of 2023, and also Aaron Boyd, who has his first album on the streaming platforms already. So you can find Aaron Boyd on whatever search engine you want to do, or we've also got the links to him in the bio. For now, though, you can enjoy this very special recording they did of a song called Kentucky Bluebird. Now, this is Aaron Boyd and Jen Richardson.
Blown down a highway, two different winds. And Lord only knows when I'll see you again. You're about as close as the stars up above. You're my long distance love. Kentucky bluebird, I heard your song today. When I try and touch you, yeah, you fly away. Blues just a feeling I'm learning so well. Turn on TV at another hotel. Turn down the volume, Lord, stare at the wall. God, I wish you would call. Kentucky bluebird, heard your song today. When I try and touch you, yeah, you fly away. How I hate those miles between us. They get longer each day. Had a dream, yeah, you should have seen us holding each other, drifting away. Kentucky bluebird, heard your song today. When I try and touch you, yeah, you fly away. Yeah, you fly away.
You've been listening to The Local Lens, the podcast from the Powell County Health Department and Kentucky Rio, where we go inside our community's experience with the drug epidemic. We would like to extend a huge thank you to Jen Richardson and Aaron Boyd for coming onto the show and talking about something as vulnerable as songwriting, especially when it's concerning so much of your past and your true life experiences. If you've liked this episode, then let us know. We have a survey link in our bio, so please consider taking a couple minutes and taking that survey for us. This is The Local Lens. These are our people using our voices, telling our stories, because no one sees it like we do.